EasySportsTalk.com is the show, is the website. But Easy Sports Talk with Ed Smith and Javon Adams. My name is Javon Adams. You can call me J or J Love. That man is Ed Smith. He not only played professional baseball, but he also played in the National Football League for that first Super Bowl bound team for the Atlanta Falcons. He is an author. He is a motivational speaker. What is good, my brother?
Happy hump day to you, bro. A lot of stuff going on in the world of sports, and some good, some bad.
Indeed. And we'll play a little bit of dealer's choice today after we get through with the first topic. But again, we do this thing 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tell a friend about what we have going on and let you know, again, how you can maybe subscribe and get on our list as well so that you can be aware of all the things that we got going on here. I'll let you know that in just a few minutes. But what I want to talk about is what everybody in the sports world is talking about right now. It happened yesterday. There were some people that were predicting it. Robert Saleh, the former head coach of the New York Jets, has been relieved of his duties, and they have promoted the defensive coordinator. There's so much I guess there's a lot of meat on that bone, as they would say, when there's a topic that has a lot of different twists and turns. Saleh wasn't necessarily the best coach. I want to throw this out there because I heard this nugget, and this is something that I've been paying attention to over the court, kind of in a peripheral way, with the Jets. Saleh was a defensive guy coming in. The defense from the Jets never slipped. So if defensive-minded head coach, even though you got a defensive coordinator in place, but it's still, that's your side of the ball in which you are, that's your expertise. Maybe where he was found wanting was the leading of men and trying to navigate in that way, because you've talked about it. If a head coach is similar to a manager or a director, then what you have to do is you have all these different personalities that you have to manage, in addition to dealing with upper management, in this case, the GM and owner, and what they want. And sometimes they override you, and you try to put the happy face on. And sometimes you have an employee, maybe like Aaron Rodgers, that, or one of in your span of control that is a little bit, is a maverick in a lot of ways. And so you thought you had power, then you don't have power, and people realize you don't have power. And so you try to make a decision and nobody listens to you. It was almost set up for failure. But I wanted your thoughts on the New York Jets situation.
In effect, what the New York Jets did, they fired an assistant coach. They didn't fire the head coach because seriously, the head coach is Aaron Rodgers. He came over and took over that organization. And I would, in any situation, be careful what you wish for. The Jets, they just was swooning over Aaron Rodgers when he became kind of available a couple of years ago. And, we all saw when you have a great saying. You always say, be careful. No, people will. How do you
when people tell you they are, believe them. Show you who they are. Believe.
There you go. We watched Aaron Rodgers for the last few years in Green Bay be petulant, be moody, be all about him. It wasn't about the organization, keeping them at bay about whether he was coming back or not, missing time with the team to go into darkness treatments and all rituals and stuff like that. So he becomes available. Green Bay couldn't wait to move off of him. Everybody's thinking, Rodgers, this is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Oh, my God. The Jets, foolish enough to bring him in there. And then what do you get? You get the same Aaron Rodgers that you've been watching from afar for the last few years. And Saleh was neutered the second that man came in there and had no authority over him. And Aaron, in such a disrespectful way, just showed it. Could you imagine, we've seen this before, Jay, parents with their kids, and the kids running the house. And it's and we've all been there. You've been, oh, your little Jimmy's so cute, and meanwhile, the second you leave that house, you're like, boy, I would have whooped his ass. I mean, that is so disrespectful, and the older they get, the worse they get, right? Aaron got there. He started to get comfortable. Basically, Saleh had no authority. And the ironic part, he gets hurt 4 plays into a season last year and misses the entire season, and then still hovers over the organization, can't just go away and be quiet. He's going to come back. He's going to make this miraculous comeback. Just hanging around. Then the offseason comes, and instead of just being head down, let's get this done, what does this man do? They have a mini camp, and, hey, I got stuff to do. They knew this, And then Saleh the whole time, every time Aaron does something to poke him, Aaron, we're good, because, it was an excuse, but no, we're good. And I mean, no authority at all. And the remaining players are looking at, I've been in the locker room, Jay. I've been in the locker room where we're watching, right? And it's like, man, he's just punking him. And then
it's an open secret, right?
Man, it's an open secret, and everybody's whispering. And then how you as a coach, you just got demolished by this player, and you gonna come tell us what to do all of a sudden? Are we supposed to listen to you? Now, me personally, I was always respectful to authority, but I felt bad for coaches and managers that didn't have the authority. And like I said, I played for a few, and then they try to jump bad and stuff like that, right? And everybody just look at him; it's so cute, And Saleh. So in the end, Saleh, I mean, it was a mercy killing for the most part. The only thing you can do, because Aaron not only came in, he brought his friends, his buddies, and everybody sitting around the fire just talking. You got Hackett still there, and so there was going to be no success. Until, I mean, the only thing Saleh could hope for is they got rid of Hackett. Woody Johnson would have came and made a statement. You look, Saleh is our head coach. What he says is authority, but even then, it would have been a false, statement. So in the end, I mean, he didn't stand a chance, and Aaron just embarrassed him and did it. Like, let everybody know he was doing it too. That was the bad part. Just embarrassed this man and took his authority away from him. And, like I say, he lost. You always talk about, did they lose the locker room? That's a classic case of he lost the locker room. And I'll dare say this. He never had the locker room once Aaron got there. That was Aaron's locker room, and it's been Aaron's locker room. And his authority has been, like I said, just. And I would say it'd be hard for me to bring him in as a head coach moving forward. And I know he won't have another Aaron Rodgers situation, but he kind of showed that he doesn't run the room the way we thought he would, and that's a bad stain.
So let's talk about that a second. So you said that it would be hard to put him in a position, but think of it. This is the Pollyanna version of me. Maybe I look at situations that I've been in where the first time around I wasn't so good. The second time around, the second opportunity, the second rep, the second run, whatever it was, I got better because I learned from the mistakes. So so you think that he was. Because I think of some coaches that never got another, what was it? Speaking of the Jets, it was the gentleman that coached the Jets so many years ago, and he was just awful. Kotite. I think it was Rich Kotite, if I'm not mistaken. And he never got another head coaching chance. But you think it was so egregious? Because I would imagine that Saleh would learn from this. You would think and say, the next time I get an opportunity to be a head coach, whether it's interim or whether they hire me outright, I am not going to hold my tongue. I am going to speak confidently. I am going to make sure that if I go out, I'm going out on my own terms, as opposed to going out kind of acquiescing to upper management or some star player or star players.
My statement is it would be hard for him. I'm not saying he couldn't, but I'll ask you this: would you want him to when you do that bad, when you show that lack of authority, and I mean, it's almost like that's a stain, bro. I mean, you bring him in, and the fear is that what he showed you is what he really is. I mean, you'd like to take a second chance on him, but man, maybe he's just a better coordinator. He's a better number 2 than he is a number 1. We know that. that we've seen. We had a Cliff Kingsbury out here. Cliff Kingsbury is a better number 2 or offensive coordinator than he is a head coach. So some guys just don't have it. So why are we going to force him to be? And like I said, he would have to go somewhere for me and do a serious rehab. Like right now, Brian Flores in Minnesota has done an incredible rehab on his style, his ability to lead men as a coordinator. I would say he's next up for a head coaching job. He rehabbed his personality and his kind of situation. Saleh would have to go somewhere and do that for me before I was like, yeah, I think he's ready again. So, but until he did that, until I saw, like I said, that rehab personality and just more authority, I wouldn't want him leading my brigade.
So along those lines, so we talked about Saleh. What are the chances that you give the New York Jets to turn this thing around? Because a lot of the knocks on the Jets, not so much the defense, but it's the offense. A lot of people that I've heard or listened to and read about talk about the very basic nature of the offense, and so that's Hackett. But then, of course, the assumption is that Hackett was the selection because Aaron Rodgers wanted him to be there. And if that is the case, then Aaron Rodgers will be the one essentially installing this offense. What do you think the chances are of the Jets to make the playoffs or to be able to salvage is probably tough. I mean, they're 2-3, right? But to be able to get to the playoffs and maybe make some noise in the playoffs and turn the season around, for lack of a better term.
At 2-3, their season's not lost. I mean, they win this week against Buffalo and be at 500 and be right there in the mix. But they can even lose, go to 2-4 and make a run. Now, my question to anybody who's a Jets fan is, what is your, what would you classify as success for this team? When you brought Rodgers in, was your goal to just get to the playoffs as a wild card and then get bounced out? No. When they brought Rodgers in, it was like, well, you got a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's going to be the first one to bring us to a Super Bowl since Willie Joe back in, or Joe Willie or whatever, back in 69. Nah, I mean, so, for me, if just getting to the playoffs is what you want, then they can squeeze in there. That's always an opportunity. But championship team? Oh, heck no. This team, and the reason I say that is because you fired Saleh. He was a portion of the problem. I would say the bigger part of the problem is still there in Aaron Rodgers and Hackett. I mean, they're not going to start running some different offense. Now, no, I see this, Jay. Hey, no, we got a secret meeting, right? Okay, we got Saleh out of here now, right? All right, so now we're going to start doing the real, bro. Let's start doing some motions, and we're going to do all kind of stuff that we've been waiting to do. Now that he gone, let's go. Nah, they've been doing the same thing they've been doing. So it's like, okay, 2 + 2 still equals 4, right? And I don't see anything changing because the root of the problem is still there. They didn't change anything except getting rid of, it's like having a bunch of ingrown hairs and just, but still continue to just shave it down and not picking them out, Still going to have the bumps. It's still going to hurt. They still got a whole bunch of ingrown hairs around there.
Easy Sports Talk Show. He's Ed Smith. I'm Javon Adams. We do this 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Go to easysportstalk.com, easysportstalk.com. And if you go, you'll look on the upper right corner of the page or of the website, and you'll see an opportunity to hit subscribe. And so subscribe so you can be able to get email notifications about the things we have going on. So when new podcasts drop, whether it's this podcast here or it's our Believe in the Arizona Cardinals podcast, so you can stay in the loop on that. So again, go to easysportstalk.com. In the upper right corner, you'll see in the top of the page, you'll see where it says subscribe to stay in the loop with everything going on with us. So before we head out of here, like I said, it's a little bit of dealer's choice a bit. So do you want the MLB playoffs is heating up a bit? There's a couple teams on the brink of elimination. Did you watch it? Did you watch any of those games yesterday?
Bro, you know how I do it. It's the 162 game preseason is over, and I am locked in. I watched every pitch of the Mets Phillies game yesterday, along with the Dodgers Padres, and dare I say that the two favorites, higher seeds, mean lower seeds, I guess. I guess.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
Whichever.
The ones that should be
favored. Yeah, the favored seeds are in trouble. And can you imagine 3rd year in a row, Dodgers getting into the playoffs with their payroll and then losing to your foe, your hated rival down south in San Diego? That's going to be a long, bitter pill to take if they don't pull this one out. And this is one of those series, man. And the same thing with the Mets Phillies. You have to know the history of, sometimes East. It's like Bloods and Crips over here, and on the East side you got the Latin Kings and somebody. I don't know what it is. East
right.
Coast.
And the disciples, gangster disciples.
There you go,
like
gangster disciples. It's straight hate, bruh. And seriously, I was part of it when I was growing up. I hate the Phillies. I hated the Phillies then. I hate them now. I know my people back east. They're probably like, "Oh my God, I didn't know that." I'm telling you, I hated them then. I hate them now. And to see, and I was a amazing Mets guy. I love the Mets back in the day. Not really a Mets fan now, but for the Phillies or to lose to the Dodgers, or for the Phillies to lose to the Mets, and for the Dodgers to lose to the Padres, that you're talking about just that they can't have that, especially like with that payroll and everything. So it is. I love the intensity and the quickness of because. It's a series. It's the best of 5. And, a lot of times with football, it's so sudden, it's one game. These are shorter series. That's what makes them, so interesting. And everybody's, here you go. Both of these teams are going to be facing elimination tonight. And you know how tight some of those booties get, bro? Let me see. Hold on a second. They get so tight in these situations. Yeah. And I'm going to see it. I love to watch this because it's like a snowball rolling down the hill, brother. You can tell from the first, at bats sometime in the game, whether everybody's loose or whether they're feeling it. I've been in, as I say, you always remind everybody, I've been in some of those, it's amazing. I'll say this real quick. The difference in the sports and how I played football. And like I said, it was one game. I played in the MLB championship game, the Super Bowl, and it's one game. You can advance, and I've been in those baseball dugouts when we'll get them tomorrow, and then tomorrow comes, and it's amazing how hey, we got another shot at this, but the nerves and the tension can even be even more. Because you have the reminder of what happened yesterday. When you're playing football, it's like, hey, we got one shot. Let's go out there and do this. When you get smashed on a Monday and then have to come back on Tuesday with what's at stake, that little reminder is in your head. And then something happens, a ball hits a stone this big and takes a bad hop, and all of a sudden they start getting – and it's like, oh, my God. And then you can see it just – sometimes it goes off the rails. So I like to see, when you're – rooting for something to happen, chaos, and it happens. It's a beautiful thing. So I'm now. Are you a Dodgers fan? You said you're more of a Diamondbacks fan.
I'm more just because of the time I've been here in Arizona. I'm more of I pay attention, of course, more to the Diamondbacks, but I still root for the Dodgers a bit just because my grandmother. I mean, growing up, my one of my best friends, Chris, he's a big Dodgers fan, lives and dies with them, so I know he's feeling the stress right now. But yeah, I don't feel the angst or the stress like I do if it was the Lakers in the playoffs and they were on the verge of elimination. So there's a little bit of distance there.
I'll give you a quick nugget here. Yesterday, my son and I were driving back from football practice, and we were talking about the baseball going on, and he asked me, "Why do you hate the Phillies so much?" I'll tell you why. My grandfather, before he passed, he was a young man. He remembers that the Philadelphia Phillies, and you remember my grandfather, he died when he was 80 years old back in the mid 90s. So you know how far he goes back, right?
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Phillies were the very last team to have a black man on their team. And and their owner at the time said he would never
So the National League, because I know the Boston Red Sox were forever in the American League. But yeah, go ahead. Yeah. This is important.
So, and he hated that. My grandfather, Southern man, up to New Jersey, raising his family, stuff like that. And he's a baseball. My grandfather was a baseball man. He was there when they took the Dodgers from Brooklyn out to the West Coast. That's stuff we don't even think about. You had a team, we see relocation all the time. And we think about the Los Angeles Dodgers. Our parents, our grandparents watched them take them from, but I digress. My grandfather, from the time I was a little boy, I remember he hated baseball, or hated the Phillies, and he was a pure baseball man. And he was so scared when I was getting drafted coming out of high school, because we all knew it. And at one time, I had to go up to New York. I did workouts for the Yankees, Mets, and Phillies and Orioles. All the local teams in the area had me come down. We did group workouts and stuff like that on the field. When I went to do a workout for the Phillies, and I was so proud of it, because I'm down on vet stadium, stuff like that. And I remember telling him, and I remember the look in his eye that he was so proud of me because he was a baseball man. And I could tell if I'd ever got drafted by the Philadelphia Phillies, there was no way I could have signed that contract. Because it would have broke his heart. Because, like I said, to his last day, he hated the Philadelphia Phillies that much, and that's I carry that for him because of this is what we do, and I nothing against my people back there, but that's the reason. Because you always want to know, why do you hate them so much? I got that from my grandfather. He hated them because of their stance when he was coming through, and I just and I was like, I don't need no reason other than my grandfather don't like him, so I don't like the Phillies either. So
I heard that. Yeah, when it came to me, my grandmother, she would sit in her chair, and even though that you could watch the baseball game on television, she had her radio, and she would listen to Vin Scully on the radio, and so that's I have such positive memories of the Dodgers because of her.
Yeah,
and, so that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Cool. So he is Ed Smith. I am Javon Adams. We do this again 3 times a week. Thank you for checking out Easy Sports Talk Show. Make sure you tell a friend about what we have going on. Don't forget we have the Believe in the Arizona Cardinals podcast as well. Of course, that's where we cover the Arizona Cardinals. That's BLEAV in the Arizona Cardinals. Put that in wherever you find your great podcasts. But also, again, don't forget to go to the website, easysportstalk.com, and subscribe. And go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. That's at The Easy Sports Talk Show. And as we always like to say around this time, you can.